Hey, this is Trader Travis, and I welcome you to another Philosophical Friday. I look forward to these every single week I do them. And in this Philosophical Friday, what I'm going to do is share my story about conquering both my fat as well as my poverty gene. And I did it by following a success principle called Discovering Your Reason Why. And if you're new to Philosophical Friday, it's a once or twice a month training where I share some of the best tips and lessons I learned from my millionaire mentors about how to process the challenges of life, how to think about life in general, or better yet, how to think about life from the viewpoint of a millionaire. So today, what I'm going to do is share some of my story in hopes that it helps you discover, what you really have to do to move towards your goals. And I'm going to do that by dropping you into a snippet of a training I had with Success Academy students where I was walking them through this mental shift that allowed me to go from fat and overweight to slim and fit. And this is also the same process I used to push me through all the challenges I encountered on my way to financial freedom. So I want to share my story, with the hope that it's going to help you clarify your reason why. Why do you want to become financially independent? Why do you want to achieve financial freedom? For some, maybe your reason why is to have a college fund for your children, or your reason why you want to become, financially independent is because you want to pay off your debt. You want to buy your dream home, become more self-reliant, or maybe you're in retirement and you just want to protect your wealth, but also earn a better return on your investment. Essentially, discovering your reason why is about finding a big enough reason to succeed, a big enough reason to push through all the roadblocks. Because every student will tell you when they enroll in my program, the very first video they encounter, I tell them, all HE-double-L will break loose when you enroll in this program. It's like every force will try to prevent you from achieving success. You will encounter roadblocks. It's not if, it's when you encounter roadblocks. What are you going to do? Are you going to give up, or are you going to push forward through them? And the people who push forward through them are usually people who have a big enough reason why they joined in the first place. And I'd go so far to say that, if you don't have a strong enough reason why you're trying to achieve financial freedom, I'd say don't even bother trying to achieve it. If you don't have a strong enough reason why, then I found that you're doomed to fail. So don't even start. Start at working with a strong enough reason why, not just, I kind of want more money, or it would be nice to become a millionaire. No, something that literally makes you insane, that people think you're possessed. That's a strong reason why. And I don't know if you've been following the personal development industry, people like Tony Robbins. You'll hear things like Les Brown. They'll say, when your why is big enough, you'll figure out the how to. That's what my mentor used to say. I think Tony Robbins talks about making your goals a must, not just wishes. Like, I want to make more money, but no, I must make more money. And, the example I can think of that has nothing to do with money, I used to work with a young girl who grew up with in a house that was infested with roaches. And her, must was, when I grow up, I must live in a house with no roaches. And she was obsessed with this goal. And what do you know? The apartment she lived in had no roaches. She would not tolerate it. It was a must. So that has nothing to do with money, but that's an example of what I'm talking about. And so when I drop you into this training, you will see that, the mental shift I went through that allowed me to become financially independent. I didn't become financially independent until it was a must that I achieve wealth. And in the following video, you'll learn about my reasons why. I hope you enjoy.
As Scott says, just don't lose the point and track that you're a born giver. Balance it versus a different direction. Thank you, Scott. I will need to write that down. Don't lose track, balance it, because you're right. Don't lose track. You're right, Scott. I was a born giver. I remember that when I was 12, recognizing that and telling my uncle what I wanted to do when I grew up was help people. And he gave me some direction and told me what to do that. So born giver, balance it, because you're right. You can't get off balance. But I also know that some people are still going to feel like I don't care. But I do care, and I'm going to show you I care by giving you stuff that will actually help you. But it's going to lead up to you to put it to use. And this is what it talked about, the why, all right? You're going to have to come up with your own why. Thank you, Sharon, for your comment. You're going to have to come up with your own reason why, all right? If you have a big enough why, you're going to find the motivation to put this to use. You're going to find the the motivation to overcome any obstacle, right? You hear successful people talk about all the time. When you have a big enough why, the how to will work, figure out itself. Now, some examples on my why. All right, I grew up poor. I remember being humiliated. I remember going to school in the winter with short sleeve shorts, shirts, and freezing my butt off, and I couldn't stand it. And I stole my first leather jacket because I was just so cold. I saw somebody in a leather jacket. They left it in their car. It was open. I regrettably and shamefully admit that I stole this jacket. I was just freezing. There's no excuse for it, but there's so many stories like that. And it was just so painful for me. And I was like, the conviction to become wealthy, easy. Had so much pain being poor. My why was huge. Didn't have any issues working through obstacles. Yeah, it took me longer than I expected, but I didn't have any issues. Now, a personal example as far as my weight. I've been overweight. And even though I know you should eat healthy and you'll get diabetes and cancer and all that stuff, and I knew all that stuff the same way smokers know that they're going to die early most likely if they keep smoking. Well, I just had a cousin die a month ago from lung cancer. I'm sure he knew that, and he left behind a young daughter who's about 11 or 12. It hit it home for me because that's the age my dad died of cancer. And I was telling my wife, I was like, I wonder if he thought about his decisions like, gosh, he's leaving behind his wife and his daughter because of choices he made. Like, this is his fault. You can't blame it on anything else. This is his fault. And I said, I wonder if he's, before he died, if he was wrestling with that. And I told her, I said, man, I never want, my kids to have to suffer for something I didn't do. And I told her how hard it was growing up without a dad. Like, I might, talk about it like it was no big deal, but it was a huge deal. And so I was telling her about that, and I was like literally boo-hooing, crying on the sofa like a big baby, because I remember all that pain of being an adult, growing up without a dad. I got 2 kids now. They have no concept of their granddad. They can't play with him. They've never seen him, and it's tough and it hurts. And so I'm sitting here crying, and then in the middle of my crying, I get peace and clarity, and I get this calmness comes over me, and I stop crying immediately. And I was like, I've got my why. And she's like, huh? I said, I finally figured out my why. Now, knowing all that stuff about my weight and all that, logically, drinking Diet Pepsi, I know it causes and the chemicals in it. Even knowing all that, I still couldn't break the habit of drinking Diet Pepsi. But thinking about the pain of growing up with a dad nipped it just right there. I said, you know what? I've got my why now. It's strong enough. I need to work on my weight and start eating healthy and all that for my kids, for myself too, but definitely, because I don't care if I die in a car. I do care, but if I die in a car accident and all that, I can't control all that. But I can control what I put in my mouth, and I can work on eating healthy and working out. And I don't want to get lazy, get overweight, and die early from a heart attack or something and leave my kids fatherless like I was left fatherless because of a choice I made. So I found a big enough why there in regards to my weight. And so I'm back here just for my second edit, and I just want to bring home and reinforce that point I just made. Is in regards to my health, I figured out my big enough why. I've been working on that why for a long time. I've tried to come up with all kinds of reasons that would motivate me to work out and eat healthy, but I finally came up with the why. Using the pain of my childhood, the pain of growing up without a dad, I realized that I don't want my kids to suffer, and I don't want to leave them fatherless because of something I did. Now, how can I do that to those kids in good conscience? How can I do that to them? How can I put them through all that pain, because of my failure to eat right and work out and things like that? Now, even before I had my kids, I recognize, it's my responsibility in regards to wealth. That's just talking about health, but in regards to wealth and financially, even before I had my kids, I knew, it's my responsibility to adequately provide for them as head of the household. As a man, can I really feel like a man if I don't adequately, provide for my family? And most men don't. This is why they try to drown out their depression by drinking or playing golf or other activities like TV. They try not to think about the reality of their life. And so I thought about myself, and I said, I can't bear that responsibility on my shoulder. Can I honestly look them in the eye and say, I tried my best? Will I be able to live with the fact that I was just too lazy to put forth the effort to create wealth? I didn't really work hard enough. I didn't really want it bad enough. All the information out there is in the world on how to become wealthy, books, seminars, but, I was too cheap to invest in myself and my education. Can I really justify that? And maybe, if I lived in a third world country, but I can't justify it while I live in the world's richest country. Riches in information and riches in finances. There is an able-bodied man. Yes, there are special circumstances for everybody, but for me personally, as an able-bodied man, there is absolutely no reason in the world why I should be living in the world's richest country but still struggling financially. No reason, no excuse for that. And immigrants come in this country every single day and put us to shame and show us that, you know what, you guys have the greatest opportunity here to build wealth and you're not taking advantage of it, but we will. So anyway, I'm just coming back to talk about, it's not just about health, it's about all other things too, about coming up with my reason why and give myself motivation. So that's my last edit for this live call. So let me drop you back in to the live call. All right. So sometimes it takes a while. It took me a year to come up with that why in regards to my weight because I've been working on it for a while. Ex-athlete, ranked nationally, trained by Olympic coaches. Knowing all that, I still couldn't get my lazy butt to work out consistently. And it took me a while. I was like, I don't get it. I'm just too lazy. I don't get why I can't be consistent. But sitting there boohooing on the sofa, I found a big enough why. So those are examples in my personal life. So y'all may have to sit here and work on it strong enough for the people. This is, again, I'm maybe preaching to the choir for most of you. But some of you, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to sit there and come up and think about it for a long time and come up with a big enough why. All right. So thank you all. Scott, I see your comment. Tim, you are very welcome. So again, time is your most valuable asset. You can lose money and make back lost money, but you can't make back lost time. So I'm always honored that you spend your time with me because it is truly, as my mentor said, one of your most valuable assets. So thank you all so much for spending your time with me tonight. You all take care, and I hope to see you on our next live call if I haven't ran your way tonight. You all take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.